Hey everybody! Welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving deep into something that affects all of us in relationships, arguments. Now, I'm not saying arguments are always bad. Sometimes a little disagreement can clear the air, you know? But how do you know when those spats cross the line from healthy to hurtful? We're going to talk about 5 signs that your arguments with your partner might be unhealthy. And trust me, this isn't about pointing fingers. It's about recognizing those little red flags so we can communicate better and make our relationships even stronger. Because let's be honest, who doesn't want a relationship filled with more laughter and less shouting? So grab your partner, grab your popcorn, and let's get started. Chapter 1: Constant Criticism. Okay, first up, we've got constant criticism. It's something that can sneak into any relationship if we're not careful. We've all been there, right? You forget to take out the trash, you burn dinner, you accidentally put your partner's white shirt in with the reds. It happens. These are everyday mistakes that everyone makes. But when these small slip-ups turn into major points of contention, it can create a toxic environment. But if it feels like every little thing you do turns into a lecture, that's a sign things might be off kilter. Constant criticism can erode the foundation of trust and love in a relationship. It can make you feel like you're walking on eggshells, always waiting for the next complaint or negative comment. It's like, remember that time I tried to make you breakfast in bed and totally messed up the eggs? Instead of appreciating the effort, focusing on the mistake can make the other person feel unappreciated and undervalued. Yeah, not my finest moment. But instead of focusing on the burnt toast, a loving partner might say, "Hey, thanks for the thought, honey." It's about recognizing the intention behind the action, not just the outcome. Next time, let's try scrambling them together, okay? See the difference? It's about turning a mistake into a bonding moment, an opportunity to grow closer rather than drift apart. It's about constructive feedback, not constant nitpicking. Constructive feedback helps us improve and feel supported, while constant criticism can make us feel attacked and defensive. Because when we feel constantly criticized, it's hard to feel appreciated, right? It can lead to feelings of resentment and frustration, which can build up over time and cause serious damage to the relationship. And who wants to live like that? Not me. No one wants to feel like they're never good enough or that their efforts are never recognized. Remember, relationships are about growing together, not tearing each other down. It's about being each other's biggest cheerleader, not the harshest critic. So next time you feel that urge to criticize, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this helpful or hurtful? Consider whether your words will build your partner up or tear them down. You might be surprised by the answer. Sometimes, a little kindness and understanding can go a long way in making your relationship stronger and more loving. Chapter 2: The Silent Treatment, aka Stonewalling. Next up is a real relationship killer: stonewalling. This is when one partner completely shuts down during a conversation, refusing to engage or respond. It's more than just a moment of silence. It's a deliberate act of emotional withdrawal. You know, when you're trying to have a conversation and your partner just shuts down completely. They might look away, avoid eye contact, or even leave the room. It's like they're putting up an invisible wall between you two. They go silent, avoid eye contact, maybe even leave the room. This behavior can make you feel like you're talking to a brick wall, only less responsive. It's incredibly isolating and can make you feel like your feelings and opinions don't matter. It's like talking to a brick wall, only less responsive. And let me tell you, it's incredibly frustrating. You start to feel like you're invisible, like your words are just bouncing off without making any impact. And let me tell you, it's incredibly frustrating. It's like, hello, I'm a person here. This kind of behavior can make you feel completely invalidated and ignored. It's like, hello, I'm a person here. Stonewalling just shuts down communication completely, and that's never a good thing. When communication breaks down, so does the relationship. Stonewalling just shuts down communication completely, and that's never a good thing. When we stonewall, we're basically saying, I don't care enough to even try to work this out. This can lead to a lot of unresolved issues piling up over time. When we stonewall, we're basically saying, I don't care enough to even try to work this out. And that can leave the other person feeling unheard, unimportant, and honestly pretty darn rejected. It's a surefire way to build resentment. And that can leave the other person feeling unheard, unimportant, and honestly pretty darn rejected. It's like that time I tried to tell Portia about my dream of opening a dog grooming business. She just stared blankly at the TV and said, that's nice, dear. It's like that time I tried to tell Portia about my dream of opening a dog grooming business. She just stared blankly at the TV and said, that's nice, dear. I mean, come on. A little enthusiasm goes a long way. She just stared blankly at the TV and said, that's nice, dear. I mean, come on. A little enthusiasm goes a long way. Stonewalling just leads to resentment and bottled up emotions, which, let's be honest, never ends well. I mean, come on. A little enthusiasm goes a long way. Stonewalling just leads to resentment and bottled up emotions, which, let's be honest, never ends well. It's like shaking up a soda bottle and then wondering why it explodes when you open it. Stonewalling just leads to resentment and bottled up emotions, which, let's be honest, never ends well. It's like shaking up a soda bottle and then wondering why it explodes when you open it. The pressure builds and builds until it can't be contained anymore. It's like shaking up a soda bottle and then wondering why it explodes when you open it. The pressure builds and builds until it can't be contained anymore. So let's try to keep those lines of communication open and avoid the silent treatment. Chapter 3. Bringing up past mistakes. Okay, let's talk about the dreaded past. It's something we all have, and it's something we all wish we could forget at times. We all make mistakes, right? It's part of being human. Mistakes are how we learn and grow, and sometimes they even make for funny stories later on. But if you find yourselves constantly dredging up old arguments, that's a sign you haven't truly moved on. It's like a wound that never gets a chance to heal. It's like that time I accidentally shrunk Portia's favorite sweater in the wash. It was a simple mistake, but it had lasting consequences. She still brings it up, like, every time I do laundry. It's become a running joke, but sometimes it feels like a reminder of my failure. I mean, it was an accident, people. We all have those moments where things don't go as planned. Here's the thing. Constantly bringing up the past just keeps those negative feelings alive. It prevents us from moving forward and finding peace. It's like picking at a scab. It's never going to heal properly if you keep irritating it. The more you scratch, the worse it gets. Instead of dwelling on past grievances, try to focus on the present. What can you do today to make things better? What can you do right now to communicate more effectively and understand each other better? Maybe it's time for an honest conversation, or even seeking help from a counselor. Remember, relationships are a journey, and every day is a fresh start. Each day offers a new opportunity to grow closer and stronger together. So, let's leave those past mistakes where they belong, in the past. Embrace the present and look forward to a brighter future together. Chapter 4. Yelling and Screaming, Not So Romantic. Alright, this one's a biggie, yelling and screaming. Let's be real, nobody wins in a shouting match. All that does is escalate the conflict and make it impossible to have a productive conversation. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone at a rock concert. You can't hear each other, you get frustrated, and eventually, you just want to give up. When we resort to yelling, we're basically saying, I'm not interested in hearing your side of the story. I just want to be right. And that's not how healthy relationships work. Remember, communication is key, and that means speaking to each other with respect, even when you disagree. Think of it like this. Would you rather be right or be happy? Chapter 5. Feeling emotionally exhausted. Last but not least, let's talk about emotional exhaustion. If you find yourselves feeling drained and depleted after every argument, that's a major red flag. Relationships should energize you, not leave you feeling like you just ran a marathon. It's like, after a good conversation with Portia, I feel happy and inspired. But if we're constantly arguing, I just feel exhausted and deflated. If you're constantly feeling emotionally drained, it might be time to take a step back and reassess the situation. Are you able to communicate effectively with your partner? Do you feel safe and respected in the relationship? Sometimes, we need a little help to get back on track. And that's okay. There's no shame in seeking professional guidance from a therapist or counselor. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Well, there you have it, folks. 5 signs that your arguments might be doing more harm than good. Remember, relationships should bring joy, not constant stress and exhaustion. If you recognize any of these signs in your own relationship, don't despair. Awareness is the first step towards positive change. Take some time to reflect on your communication patterns and see if there are areas where you can both improve. And hey, if you need a little help along the way, don't hesitate to reach out to a therapist or counselor. Remember, we're all in this together. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more relationship advice. And remember, always be kind to one another.